They were smiling for the camera and every one of them was already dead. They just didn't know it yet. Let's start with a woman named Gail Matson. Gail was 79 years old from Minnesota. Her friends described her as flamboyant, fabulous, always up, always optimistic. She loved bright colors and she loved to travel. She spent her winters in Arizona playing bridge and cards. And the rest of the year she went everywhere the world would let her. And this trip, this one, was going to be her last big adventure. She had told her friends that herself. She was turning 80 soon and she thought maybe it was time to slow down. Before she left, she handed her neighbors tickets to a concert she would miss while she was away. "Enjoy the show," she told them. "I'll see you when I get back." On the 30th of March, 2024, Gail was on a morning game drive in Kafue National Park, the largest and oldest reserve in Zambia. There were 6 guests and a guide in the open vehicle. There is a photograph of Gail from that very day. She is holding a flower. Her family later said she was living life in that picture. It was taken hours before she died. What the group did not fully understand was that a bull elephant had noticed them. And a bull elephant, when something sets it off, does not hesitate. In a video filmed by another tourist, you can hear it happen before you see the danger. A voice says, "Oh my goodness." Then a man says, "It's coming fast." The elephant crosses the bushy ground at a speed that a safari truck simply cannot escape in time. The guide tries to shout it down. It doesn't work. The animal hooks its tusks under the vehicle and rolls it over again and again, like it weighs nothing at all. Gail Matson was flown to a hospital in South Africa. She did not survive. Her daughter wrote that her mother had died in a tragic accident while on her dream adventure. And that phrase is the whole horror of it. The dream and the ending were the same trip. She had done everything right. She was inside the vehicle, she was with a professional guide, and it still was not enough. That alone would have been horrifying. But here's what makes it worse. Gail's death was not the only one that year. It was not even the only one that season. Because Zambia in 2024 became the setting for a string of these tragedies, one after another, each one following the same pattern. Just weeks later in June, another American woman was on a game drive near Livingstone, Zambia. Her name was Juliana Glay Tourneau. She was 64 years old from New Mexico. She and the others were watching a herd of elephants, doing exactly what people travel across the world to do, observing these massive animals in the wild. But one elephant in that herd broke away and charged the vehicle. Juliana was killed. The others could only watch. Think about what that means. 2 women, 2 game drives, 2 vehicles that were supposed to be safe, and 2 families who got a phone call that started with the words, "There has been an accident." And that is where the story widens, because the danger on safari is not only on land. Lisa Manders was 70 years old from Cranford, New Jersey. She had worked in finance for over 40 years. She loved cooking, she loved traveling, and she loved New York City, where she was born. She and her husband Craig were celebrating a special anniversary, and it was their first time ever in Africa, 10 days in Zambia. The trip of a lifetime again. That phrase keeps coming back because that is who these animals take. Not the reckless, the joyful. 5 days into the trip on the 5th of June, 2024, Lisa and Craig went on what is called a bushwalk. Not a drive this time, on foot. Their guides led the group toward a riverbank where a single hippopotamus was resting in the water. Now here's something most people do not know. The hippo is not the gentle, rounded creature of cartoons. Hippos are among the most dangerous animals in all of Africa. They are fiercely territorial. An adult male can weigh over 3,000 pounds. And despite that size, a hippo can run faster than you can, more than 20 miles per hour over a short distance. Everything about standing near one on foot is a gamble. According to the lawsuit Craig later filed, the group was led dangerously close to that water. And when the hippo charged, it came out of the river with a speed no one on foot could answer. Lisa tried to flee. She did not make it. Her husband witnessed the entire thing. He said afterward that if they had understood the danger, they never would have agreed to be that close on foot. Had we known, he said, we never would have been there. That detail changes everything, doesn't it? Because it points to a truth that runs underneath all of these stories. Again and again, the people who died were not warned strongly enough about what they were walking into. They trusted the guide. They trusted the company. They trusted that if it were truly this dangerous, someone would have stopped them. The deeper you look into these cases, the more that same failure appears. The gap between how safe the experience is sold to be and how deadly it actually is. And it is not only Africa, because the next case shows what happens when a person forgets the single most important rule for one moment in a place they thought was tame. In July 2016, at the Battling Wildlife World near the Great Wall of China, a 57-year-old woman and her adult daughter were driving through a tiger enclosure. This was a park where visitors are allowed to drive their own cars among the big cats under one absolute condition, one rule that everyone signs their name to before entering. Do not, under any circumstances, open your doors or windows. The daughter, feeling carsick, got out of the vehicle. It happened in an instant. A tiger seized her and dragged her away. Her mother threw herself out of the car to save her daughter, and in doing so, she was attacked too. The daughter survived her injuries. The mother did not. And the detail that lingers, the one that turns a tragedy into a warning, is that a wall of glass and steel had been keeping them completely safe. The car was the rule. The moment the door opened, the rule was gone. The protection they never even thought about was the only thing standing between an ordinary afternoon and a nightmare. What happened next? In case after case was another kind of failure, the failure of the rescue. Because when these attacks happen in remote reserves, help is not minutes away, it is often hours. Gail Matson had to be evacuated to another country. These parks span thousands of square miles of wilderness, and a charging animal takes only seconds to do what medicine then cannot undo. The distance that makes a safari feel wild and untouched is the same distance that makes it impossible to save you in time. And still, the pattern repeats. Let's go to Kruger National Park in South Africa, one of the most famous safari destinations on Earth, a place that draws over 1 million visitors a year. In January 2025, a 59-year-old grandfather named Sheikh Adam Shabir Ahmed arrived at the park with his family. They had parked near the Mela Lane entrance. His grandchildren, one just 5 years old and one 11, were taking pictures of an elephant nearby. This is the everyday scene. This is what everyone does. You see the animal, you reach for the camera, you feel the thrill of being close to something so wild. Then the elephant charged the children. Their grandfather did not hesitate. He rushed forward to pull them to safety. To put himself between the children and the animal, he got them clear. But the elephant turned on him. He was trampled at the scene, trying to save the two people he loved most in the world. He succumbed to his injuries where he fell. Park officials called it a tragic accident, and they made a quiet, heavy request. They asked the public not to share any photos or videos of what had happened, out of respect for the family. Think about what that request tells you. It tells you the footage existed. It tells you that in the age of the smartphone, the last moments of these people are often captured, filmed by someone standing just a few feet away, someone who was also, at that moment, in terrible danger and did not fully realize it, because that is the thread. In almost every one of these stories, the people around the victim were filming, smiling, marveling, right up until the second it turned. They were all, every one of them, standing on the same thin line. So what do we actually learn from all of this? It would be easy to say the lesson is simply that wild animals are dangerous, but that is too small. The real lesson is deeper, and it is harder to hear. These animals are not villains. The elephant that charged Gail Matson was not evil. The hippo that took Lisa Manders was defending its water. The bull that killed Juliana was reacting to a threat only it understood. These are wild creatures behaving exactly as wild creatures do. The tragedy is not that the animals were monsters. The tragedy is that human beings were led to believe they could stand at the edge of that wildness and stay safe, when the truth is that the wild does not recognize our plans, our cameras, or our dream vacations. Every person in these stories believed the danger was part of the scenery, something to look at, something behind an invisible line that would surely hold. They did not understand that they had already stepped over it, that from the moment they got too close, the outcome was no longer fully in their hands. That is what it means to be already dead and not know it yet. It is not a curse. It is not fate. It is the terrible, quiet gap between the second the danger becomes real and the second the human being finally understands it. In that gap, they are still smiling, still filming, still reaching for one more photograph, and by the time the truth arrives, it is moving too fast to escape. The wild is not cruel, but it is honest, and it does not give second chances to those who forget how close they are truly standing.